If you are a resident of the average American household, then in 2015, you had around $130,922 in debt. $15,762 of that would be in credit card debt. You may have a mortgage or a student loan or some other form of financial obligation that you're required to pay at least some amount on every single month. The US public is trillions of dollars in debt. What would happen if one day it disappeared? While at first it seems like it might be good news for some people, especially in a country where people rack up massive amounts of medical debt or student loans. It'd start from a clean slate, right? However, there are other things that would happen, inevitable consequences that would impact you and everyone you know almost immediately. The first one would be currency. All these coupons that we keep and have done such horrible things for and wonderful things with don't matter. They disappear. Currency itself, you see, has always been a debt. It is an IOU from an organization, and many times throughout history, this IOU entitled the bearer to some sort of value or precious metal, for instance, upon demand. This was the case in the US with the silver certificates until about 1964. So the first thing that would happen is you would notice not only was your debt gone, but the assets you had accrued, perhaps stored in a bank, were also gone effectively. And the reason this would happen is because very little of the money that you would put in a deposit account at a bank stays there. It is instead used to issue loans, and a loan incurs a debt. So if all the world's debts are gone, so is your savings account or your deposit account. So to many actors on the world stage, private corporations, of course, and also local governments, debt is a good thing. During the Clinton administration, economists were worried that there would be a situation where the US had, believe it or not, absolutely no debt. And in a study that I'm sure drove the economists mad, they published a memo that was closely held for the president's review, in which they essentially said, well, there is such a thing as too much debt, but Mr. President, maybe there's such a thing as too little debt, because this would affect the housing market, this would affect the banks, this would affect international trade. If there was not debt, and then there was not currency, then essentially we would be using a barter system. For proponents of global trade, that's not exactly feasible. So some people will argue that certain types of debt should simply be eliminated. What if, for instance, some well-meaning hacker Robin Hood went into the various annals of financial institutions and then removed mortgage debt or removed student loan debts? And I'm sure you can tell by the way that I'm talking that I, like millions of other people, still pay student loans. So if you're watching this and you have the ability, well, I guess I can't legally tell you to do it. I cannot legally tell you to do it. But the point here is that even if a targeted type of debt were eliminated from the world or from a country, it would have inevitable consequences that can be sort of predicted or speculated upon, but in all cases become dangerously close, at least the opponents say, to starting a revolution. And that's what we're exploring in our audio podcast this week. Check it out if you get a chance. And in the meantime, let us know in the comments, what do you think of the idea of forgiving debt or eliminating debt? Should certain types of debt be eliminated? Should none of it be eliminated? Are we too deep into this currency cycle of moving resources one way or the other? Or do you think it will be pandemonium? Or should we just roll the dice and eliminate the concept of money entirely? Spoiler alert, bad things will probably happen. You can also follow us for more related information on this topic. We're on Facebook, Twitter, we finally got on Instagram, right? We're on Instagram. Yeah, okay. And as always, if you have an idea for an upcoming topic we should cover, suggestions, feedback, or a personal story about the elimination of world debt, then write to us directly. We are conspiracy@howstuffworks.com. Oh, right. Still means something for now.